All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome in to this episode of the Red Friday Q&A live chat. Appreciate you all joining me live on Facebook, YouTube, X, IG, and I'm actually going to try TikTok for the very first time. I don't know how this is going to go on TikTok, but we'll give it a whirl. Why not? Appreciate you all joining me. We've got a lot to discuss on tonight's episode of the Red Friday Q&A live chat. A lot of things to get into here, and definitely going to talk about the Chiefs and a little bit of an update on their coaching staff right now. Just kind of where that's at the moment. We'll discuss that. Also get into my wild card picks for this week. And I know there are more reactions to Rashee Rice as we wait to see if there are going to be any updates on that front right there. So whatever questions you guys have, whatever's on your mind, ask it below. Want to hear from you guys. See a lot of you guys tuning in to TikTok, so that's pretty cool. Someone waved at me. Okay, that's cool. That's the first ever TikTok live comment I've ever received. So if you guys have any comments you guys want to chime in with, please feel free to do so on TikTok or anywhere where you're listening to this. And we will get to your guys' questions later on as the live stream goes on. All right, a little bit of an update. We mentioned yesterday, Matt Nagy interviewed with the Tennessee Titans and the Las Vegas Raiders for their head coaching vacancies. Steve Spagnuolo also interviewed with the Tennessee Titans. As far as we know, that's the only head coaching opportunity Spags is getting in terms of interviews. Today, Nagy interviewed with the Arizona Cardinals, and on Sunday, he will interview with the Baltimore Ravens. So he's got 4 interviews that he has either done or will do for this weekend. But that is not all. Chiefs defensive line coach Joe Cullen, by the way, if you've ever been to training camp and you know where the defensive linemen practice when they do their position drills, dude, Joe Cullen's a lot of fun to watch. He's a lot of fun to watch in training camp. Joe Cullen interviewed with the Washington Commanders for their defensive coordinator position. He was a defensive coordinator with the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2021 before joining the Kansas City Chiefs, right before joining them in 2022. He's been a defensive coordinator in the college game as well. Nothing long-term, but he's got some experience as a defensive coordinator. So would hate to see him go. I know the defensive line may not have produced. So we'll see if the Chiefs are interested in having him back, if he decides to pursue an opportunity as a defensive coordinator. So certainly something to keep an eye on for sure. And I think that kind of begs the question of what is going to happen with the Chiefs coaching staff moving forward. A lot of you guys have been asking about Dave Toub, the special teams coordinator who's been here for as long as Andy Reid's been here, since 2013. We have not seen anything to indicate that the Chiefs are looking to move away from him. What is my TikTok account? I think it's just Farzine Vasugian, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I don't even know the name of my own account. Imagine that. I think it's just my name. Anyway, with Dave Toub, the special teams has been a problem. The special teams unit, especially in the return game, with the consistent amount of holds, has been an issue. Now, I will say Matt Araiza certainly improved this year compared to last year. Last year was essentially his rookie season. And then Harrison Butker got off to a very rocky start, missing either a field goal or a PAT or had a bad kickoff. And I think each of the first 5 or 6 games, he cleaned that up and was much better during the second half of the season. I don't think there's anyone who will deny that. And that Colts game made every single field goal, forcing overtime and also winning the game for you in overtime. Kansas City's last win, as a matter of fact. And in the game against the Raiders, which wasn't there wasn't much to play for, Butker in that one connected on all 4 field goals when the Chiefs could not get a touchdown in that game. So I would say I think the Chiefs like what they've gotten from the special teams unit in general. The return game has not been good. It's been bad. I think Winchester, great long snapper. Araiza got better as a punter, continues to do well as a holder. And Butker, yeah, he kind of had a little bit of a he had some hiccups last year. This year got off to a really bad start, but got much better about it. It's the return game that hasn't been so good for Kansas City. And I kind of wonder, are they going to bring back Nico Remigio? What are they going to do on that front? By the way, for those of you who are tuning in, appreciate you all watching live on Facebook, YouTube, X, IG, also on TikTok. Whatever questions you guys have, comment below and we will get to your questions as we go on throughout the night. I'm just looking on my phone here because I can't do TikTok through here. Have to do it on my phone separately. So we'll give it a try, see how that goes. I was nervous going on X for the first time a while back. Dude, X is where we get a lot of our viewers, which is great. I'm certainly not complaining about that at all. So regardless, however you guys are watching, greatly appreciate you guys doing so. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube, that's where we have the least amount of viewers. Make sure you are watching through the YouTube channel. Subscribe there if you haven't done so already. I'll comment with the links. That way you guys have it so you can subscribe as well. Would greatly appreciate it if you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel at The Chief Zone on YouTube. Whatever questions you guys have, please comment below. Let me know your thoughts. I do want to get into Rashee Rice, and I also want to get into my NFL picks. While I'm commenting, saying all these things, whatever questions you guys have, ask it below, and we will get to all of your guys' questions throughout the night. On the Rashee Rice front, look, we've talked about this 2 nights straight. I'll give you my Cliff Notes version of this, and I'm sure you guys will have some follow-up questions on Rashee Rice. Number one, we got to wait for the facts to come out. Yes, she posted pictures of a bruised face, a bruised up lip, bruises on her leg, a closet that was destroyed, other things inside the home, property that was clearly damaged. She has made some very, very, very serious claims about being locked out in the door in the cold. Apparently was even assaulted while pregnant. A lot of things were brought up in that Instagram post. And I did read the comments. Rashee Rice's grandmother fought back. I believe people who are very close to Dakota Nicole, Rashee Rice's ex, they fought back as well. Both sides are claiming they have evidence. Okay. All right. Let's see it. I mean, you're making a really big claim about a public figure, so we might need to see that evidence. The second thing here is whether you're an NFL player or just a regular 9-to-5 average Joe, you got to surround yourself with the right people. You surround yourself with the wrong people, people who are going to accuse you of things. You got to make sure you're with someone, especially in a romantic relationship, who's not going to go off the rails and just accuse you of things. And I'm not dismissing this woman's claims. I don't have any reason to believe her. I don't have any reason to believe she is lying. I don't know. That's why I said earlier, we got to wait for the facts to come out. If you're an NFL player, man, you've got an opportunity to make millions of dollars if you have a good career and you keep your nose clean for 10 to 15, maybe even 20 years. But unfortunately, Rice may have found himself, and this leads me to my third and final point. Rice may have found himself in a position where he might not get a second contract with Kansas City, and he might not get a big contract elsewhere. So if you are Rashee Rice, dude, your agent, your legal team, you better fight like hell to clear your name, because you owe it to yourself. If you did nothing wrong and you want that second contract in the NFL, whether it's here or elsewhere outside of KC, clear your name, get it figured out, do what needs to be done, because no one should ever have to be falsely accused of something. I know that's happened with a couple of current and former Chiefs. So let's see how that part goes. My concern for Rashee Rice is in terms of his Chiefs future. I think the Chiefs are looking at it. They're saying, okay, you had the Dallas driving incident, and you had another incident in Dallas where you were at a club and you allegedly assaulted a photographer. Now you have allegedly assaulted your ex-partner, and there are all kinds of claims being made about this. This is not a good look for Rashee Rice. And I think the Chiefs are looking at this saying, listen, even if you are innocent of this domestic violence accusation, we might not be interested in bringing you back, because this is not worth the time and the place for us to deal with your headaches. Listen, man, the Chiefs had an early ending to the season than they usually do, and they've got a lot to figure out with their coaching staff. The last thing they have time for is more off the field drama. They dealt with plenty of that over the years. I think not that any team ever wants to deal with it. I think if you are a professional sports team or even a college football team or a college basketball team, like if you're Bill Self, you have what, 12 to 15 players on your team? Odds are once every other year, you'll deal with a player who's going to run into some kind of trouble. When you are on a college football team, you're going to deal with at least one thing every year because you're dealing with what? 70, 80, 90 kids? Odds are some of them are going to act like shitheads and get in trouble off the field. That's the reality of it. Not supporting or endorsing any of that. If you're a college football coach, you know you're going to come across that situation at some point. If you are an NFL general manager, an NFL owner, an NFL head coach, well, you're dealing with 53 guys plus some practice squad guys. And then in the offseason, you have 90 guys altogether. You know there are good odds that at some point you're going to deal with a player getting in trouble. The Chiefs, unfortunately, have been dealing with that a lot over the last several years. And I think they're kind of at a point where they're just sick of it. The PR staff, they're sick of it. The entire organization is tired of having to put out fires. Because a guy like Rashee Rice, the last 2 years, he has missed, and I had it on my notes here, I think it was 17, 1, 2, 3. He has missed 23 games in 2 years. 17 due to injury, 6 due to a suspension. Let's be completely honest. In the last 2 years, what have we spent more time talking about specifically with Rice? Is it football stuff or non-football related stuff? Unfortunately for Rice, it's been non-football stuff more than the football, more than on the field topics. So this is a situation where, dude, you're under probation and you maybe assaulted your partner after a breakup. That's not good. There's going to be some serious consequences if he does not figure it out. All right, those are my thoughts on the Chiefs coaching staff and on Rashee Rice. If you guys have any questions on that or anything else related to the Chiefs or even related to the NFL, non-NFL, hey, we go off topic sometimes on the Red Friday Q&A live chat. Why not? I'll give you my picks real quickly for Wild Card Weekend. Rams at the Panthers. The Panthers are an 8-9 team. I'm going to go with the Rams in this one. I'm not going to go into a deep dive, but I think, listen, Matthew Stafford's had a great season. The Rams have been great this year. Could have gotten a much bigger seed if they were in another division, but they're in arguably the toughest division in football right now. So I think the Rams are going to be one of those wild card teams that could make a very big run. This one is my game of the week. I am ecstatic for this game. Packers at Bears. Oh boy. Listen, I like Jordan Love. I don't think Jordan Love gets the credit he truly deserves. And Josh Jacobs has done a really good job helping that offense. But I feel like this Bears team, with Caleb Williams' improvement in his second season, and the guys that they've added in the offseason, guys like Joe Tooney, the wide receiver from Mizzou, guys that, and I know he suffered an injury a couple of weeks ago, but I feel like this Chicago Bears team has really surprised a lot of people. I'd say they're my biggest surprise of 2025, going into 2026, obviously. I like the Bears in this one. This is their third meeting in 34 days. This is going to be a fun one. I think it's going to be the best game of the week. Give me Chicago. Buffalo at Jacksonville. This is going to be another big game. This would be my second biggest game of the week. I'm picking the Bills. I see a lot of people going with the Jaguars. Look, I know Josh Allen's never played a road playoff game before, or never won a road playoff game before. He's played in several, but has yet to win on the road in a playoff game. I love the Jacksonville story this year. They are coming into this season, into the postseason, very hot. But I've got to go with the playoff experience here. James Cook has been a big part. He led the league in rushing this year. And I think Buffalo's defense does not get the credit it deserves. Josh Allen's got to come through. Here's a crazy thing. Allen's never won a road playoff game before in his career. And this time, he doesn't have Patrick Mahomes, he doesn't have Joe Burrow, doesn't have Lamar Jackson in his way. None of those guys. So everyone's saying he has an easy path to the Super Bowl. But the path to the Super Bowl is going to require 3 playoff wins on the road. Does he have it in him to win 3 times? The only event the Bills will host a playoff game is if the Chargers win out, which I doubt, because I think that offensive line being banged up, and credit to them, they figured it out as the season went on. But I think it does come to an end this weekend. For the Chargers, that is. I'm picking the Bills to win this one. All right. So we're 3 games in, 3 more games to pick. 49ers at Eagles. This is my upset of the week. I'm going San Francisco. San Francisco's been quietly good this year. Not a lot of people are talking about them. Maybe it's because they're in a very tough division. I'm not sure. But I don't think they should be forgotten about. The Eagles are a good football team. But, man, they've dealt with a lot of drama this year. They've dealt with some inconsistencies. And I think the 49ers are going to come through and win. I think they're going to go on the road at Lincoln and win a big road game. So my road, so far I'm picking the Rams, the Bills, and the 49ers. 3 road teams in the 4 games I've picked so far. Only home team I've got so far is Chicago. I do think that will come to a little bit of an end here. Sunday night, the Chargers at the Patriots. I just mentioned the Chargers, their offensive line banged up. Drake May having a phenomenal season, an MVP candidate this season. The Patriots, coached very well by Mike Vrabel, made it to an AFC championship once before with the Titans with Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback. It was at Arrowhead, if you remember. So I'm going to go with the Patriots in that one. Monday night, this is going to be a really good one. I think it's going to be better than a lot of people expect. I think it's going to be a big defensive showdown. The good news is for the Steelers, because of that missed field goal Sunday night last week, DK Metcalf is back. A lot of people thought DK Metcalf's season was going to be done. But now there's an opportunity for the Steelers to continue their season. But they're dealing with a high-powered Texans defense. And Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers struggled with Myles Garrett. Did not even want him to be on the wrong end of that sack record. This is a Texans defense that has playmakers all around of the defensive front. The Steelers have some good players on that defensive front as well, led by TJ Watt, Hayward as well, part of that defensive line there. This is going to be a low-scoring game. I'm going with Houston in that one. So my picks are the Rams, the Bears, the Bills, the 49ers, the Patriots, and the Texans to win on Wild Card Weekend. All right, those are my comments to start off the show. I will read your guys' questions, and whatever is on your mind, please drop it below. Let's chat it up here. Let me just pull up something because I know a lot of people are going to want to talk about mock drafts. So I just want to have my little guide here because I know that'll be talked about throughout the night. All right, let's get right into it. There. First question. After last night, I am off the Bain Jr. from Miami. He was just average last night. Yeah, I get it. I mean, I don't like to judge a guy off one game, but yeah, Bob's agreeing with you. Didn't do very well. I think at the end of the day, everyone's going to get judged on these big games under the brightest lights. So yeah, I mean, he unfortunately did not do very well, and that's something for them to figure out. What is Bain Jr. going to be a top 10 pick after yesterday's game? If Buffalo loses, do they fire their head coach? Nick is asking. Yes, 100%. I think at some point you've got to cut ties with Sean McDermott and say, listen, enough is enough. We we can't do this. We've tried many times, and we got to find someone else to lead this football team. Because what is if you don't reach the Super Bowl, what is the logic in keeping? What is the logic in keeping Sean McDermott? I don't know. Joshua says Spencer Whipple or Nathan Shieldhouse. Yeah, Nathan Shieldhouse is the passing game coordinator for the Rams. So last year he was the offensive assistant and the passing game specialist. This year he is the pass game coordinator. Sean McVay's assistants tend to do real well. And by the way, Shieldhouse is from the Kansas City area. He went to Rockhurst High School in Kansas City, went on to play quarterback at Illinois. So he would certainly be a very interesting name to bring in, especially with the way the Rams offense performed this season. I would not be opposed to that at all. My first choice would still be Eric Bieniemy, followed by Mike Kafka. But if it's a non-chief, yeah, I think Nathan Shieldhouse would be great. Spencer Whipple, not a bad option at all. With the Jaguars, he was a quarterbacks, or still is a quarterbacks coach, I should say. With the Cardinals, he had a couple of different titles there from 2019 to 2024. Started as the offensive quality control coach, assistant wide receivers coach, and then the co-pass game coordinator. So he's got that coordinating experience of some sort on the offensive side of the football. Lamar says, should we draft an offensive tackle first round? I think that's something to consider. The offensive line market for the draft, especially if you're a top 10 team, is not great. As far as options, Spencer Fano from Utah, that is maybe your best option there. He's more of a left tackle. Is this someone you can use at right tackle? Or do you consider Josh Simmons a move for him to right tackle? He played some right tackle in college. I think when he was at San Diego State before transferring to Ohio State. So we'll see if the Chiefs go that route. But yeah, I think your only option there would be Spencer Fano. Joker says, can you imagine if Baltimore fired Sean Harbaugh for Matt Nagy? That they would regret that real quick. Yeah, that would be a really interesting option to move forward with following Harbaugh. I mean, look, the idea when you fire someone is you got to bring someone better. It's hard to bring someone better than Harbaugh. Maybe after 18 years, it's just time. I can understand that. I think that was the case with Andy Reid in Philly. The difference is Harbaugh won a Super Bowl with Baltimore. Andy did not win one in Philly, though Andy still had a lot of success. He had a Super Bowl appearance, 5 conference title appearances. Unfortunately, went 1-4 in those conference games, so not a lot of success at that point. But yeah, that would be an interesting choice for sure. I hope he goes to the Raiders. Roger on TikTok says that will gladly donate Nagy. Yeah, we all would. I have a brother in Buffalo media, and the fans will go nuts if the Bills lose. Oh, I believe it. I mean, there will be a protest to get rid of Sean McDermott going into the new era, going into that new stadium of Buffalo. I think the Chiefs should clean house if Spags leaves. I don't think Spags will leave. Excuse me. I don't think Spags will leave, but if he does, I know they really like some of their defensive assistants. I think they would promote Joe Cullen to be the defensive coordinator. He's done it before with the Jaguars. I know it's not great experience, but I think that's the direction the Chiefs would go in. Yes, Raheem Morris is out there. Maybe he could be a potential defensive coordinator if he does not get a head coaching opportunity. And the head coaching cycle is going to be interesting. That John Harbaugh firing, I think, has changed a lot of. I think has changed the way a lot of teams will approach the hiring process. I think a majority of the teams are going to wait for Harbaugh to pick a team. Once he does that, then everyone else will offer their top ideal candidate. And if that guy's gone, then their backup and so on. It's good. And by the way, for people who are like, I saw the president of the United States say that Harbaugh should be hired immediately. No, Harbaugh would be very wise to wait. There is No reason to rush into anything. I know a lot of people think the Miami firing for Mike McDaniel means that they're going to hire Harbaugh. No, that's not what that means. Maybe they're rolling the dice and doing so. But man, look at the 6 teams that we have that could lose this weekend. I mean, I'm picking the Bills to win, but a Bills loss is not out of the question. All right. So he would be wise to wait, because if the Bills lose, Sean McDermott's gone. And as soon as Sean McDermott's gone, they should hire Harbaugh within 4 seconds. Like, if you get to a 5th second, I don't even know why. Harbaugh will absolutely take that job to coach Josh Allen. You go from Lamar Jackson, a 2-time MVP, to Josh Allen, who was last year's league MVP. Yeah, he'll do that in a heartbeat. 100%. What do I think about McDaniel for the Chiefs OC? Roger asking on TikTok. He was not a play caller in San Francisco. So the offensive coordinator in Kansas City traditionally is not a play caller. So that is something that they might seriously consider. By the way, for those of you on TikTok right here that don't see it, I'm looking right here. That's the camera. So if I'm not looking at you guys when I'm talking, that's because I'm so used to looking at that camera right there. I've got a phone camera and an actual video camera right there to look at. Joshua says, do we re-sign Rice? Pet peeve of mine, you used the wrong re-sign. You wrote resign, but I know what you meant. Do we re-sign Rice after this 3rd strike? I want to be careful with calling it a 3rd strike because we don't know what happened. However, I think we can still answer this question. Do you re-sign him if you feel like he's going to be a headache and a problem, like a very serious problem moving forward? If he's going to generate more off the field headlines than on the field headlines, probably best to be ready for life after Rashee Rice. And I hate to say it because I'm a big fan of the guy. I think he's got the potential to be a top 5 wide receiver. But you've got to stay away from trouble. You've got to surround yourself with the right people. And he has not done that. Damien's asking, would you want the Chiefs to bring back Rice after his contract is up? We kind of did address this. My answer is no. Who am I rooting for in the playoffs? Who am I rooting for? That's a good question. Who am I rooting for? I love the Chicago story. I've always been a big fan of Matt Stafford, the Jaguars, and Liam Cohen. That's been a lot of fun to watch. I'm a big fan of Mike Vrabel. I'm always a big fan of good defenses, and Houston has that. If I had to give you my 2 picks, I'll give you a top 3. In order: Chicago, Jacksonville, and the Rams. Those are my 3. I actually really wanted Lamar to win because I think there's so much, and I think Josh Allen kind of fits this conversation as well, but I think Lamar gets way too much shit for no reason. Do I think he's failed in the playoffs before? Yes. But that last playoff game, can you put it all on Lamar? Not really. I know everyone talks about the end of the game. Lamar still committed a couple of turnovers in that game he should not have committed. It just didn't happen in the waning stages of the 4th quarter because people only talk about that. Everyone talked about Mark Andrews dropping the 2-point conversion. That's all people talk about with that game. It's kind of like the AFC Championship game against the Patriots. Everybody just talks about D Ford being offsides. It's all kind of like the AFC Championship between the Chiefs and Bengals. Everyone talks about Joseph Osai hitting Mahomes out of bounds. Well, there was a lot more that happened in that game and in every other game too. It's not just those it's not just that one moment at the end of a game. But there's no Ravens here. So I'm going teams I'm pulling for, either the Bears, the Rams, or the Jaguars. Those are my 3 picks. Who is the best candidate, Bob's asking, for offensive and defensive coordinators? Offensive coordinators, as far as former Chiefs go, we have Bieniemy, Kafka, and Peterson is still out there. He's been kind of quiet lately. As far as non-Chiefs, we mentioned Spencer Whipple, Nathan Shieldhouse. Nathan Shieldhouse would be my ideal non-former Chief to come back. Mike McDaniel, yes, he's a guy that was not a play caller when he was with San Francisco. So unless he would rather reunite with Shanahan, he'd be a good guy to bring back. Brian Daboll would be another interesting option. I know a lot of people get nervous when they think about Daboll in 2012. Listen, man, he's come a long way since then. So those are the offensive coordinator candidates. Cliff Kingsbury, potentially another guy to look out for because he has a connection to Patrick Mahomes. Defensively, I do like Raheem Morris. I think Atlanta had a great defense this year. If you remember that Monday Night Football game early in the season, that defense was a huge reason why they beat the Bills. And a big reason why, they were able to win the games that they won. I know in general, they just were not a good football team. But defensively, they did a lot of good things. So there aren't a lot of options for defensive coordinators. But if there was one you really needed, if Spags goes in that event, I think Raheem Morris is someone to just keep an eye on. Who do I have tonight? Indiana or Oregon? Man, I got to be honest with you guys, and this is just kind of disappointing. It's been a really busy year for me when it comes to my content, my podcast. I told you guys before already, and this is not about me, so I don't want to spend too much time on this, but there were a lot of opportunities for me this season that I pursued that I had never had before. And it's a big thanks to you guys for the support. Without you guys, this would not have happened. That led to being very busy on Saturdays. I'm a very casual follower of college football. I loved watching college football last year because I was excited for the new playoff format. I think that's way better than what it used to be in the past with just two teams and then they had a 4-team playoff, and I didn't like that either. But man, I got to be honest, I can't give you an informed pick because I have not paid attention to college football this season. I just haven't. So, why not? Let's go with Oregon. I've always thought their jerseys are cool, so I'll pick Oregon. Brad says the points and Oregon. Okay, there you go. Rice is taking plays off and getting lazy on routes. Yeah, and listen, I know we talked about Rice on the field a little bit as well. The drops were an issue this season, and his yard per catch average it was low. I'm going to look it up right now, but man, the way Rashee Rice just played this year, he had 571 yards for you. That was the third most on the team behind Travis Kelce and Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown had fewer receptions and just slightly more receiving yards. He averaged 12 yards a catch. Rashee Rice averaged just under 11 yards a catch. That's not very good for a guy who dominated the year before. I mean, you look at some games with Rice's average against the Chargers. This was his last game. He averaged 7.3 yards a catch. Against the Texans, 8.3 yards a catch. Against the Broncos, 6.3 yards a catch. Against the Raiders, 6 yards a catch. Those are not good numbers, man. Those are not good numbers at all. And yes, he got 2 touchdowns in that Raiders game, and that was his first game back, so I can cut a little bit of slack for him there. But man, the Colts game, he had 8 catches for 141 yards. That's statistically his best game ever that he's ever played. He also had 4 catches for 80 yards against Buffalo. That was pretty good too. That's 20 yards a catch. But there were not very many of those from Rashee Rice this season. If you look at 2024, he averaged almost 15 yards a catch in the Ravens game, and he averaged exactly 15 yards a catch against the Bengals. He averaged just over 9 yards a catch against Atlanta. Now, in the Chargers game, he only played 5 snaps because he got hurt. So that really did hurt his yard per catch average because of the fact that, that game just goes into his accumulation there. So I like what he did last year. 24 catches, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was top 5 in all of those categories before his injury. And I know that's a very small sample size, but he was already working his way up. So it is kind of disappointing to see not only did he struggle this season when he did come back, he's also now in a little bit of trouble. We don't know how much trouble, but I suppose we'll find out soon. I'm surprised Rice hasn't come out and said anything, which to me looks bad. I don't agree with that, Kyle. I think more than anything, I don't know what that was on TikTok. Something weird was just over my head on TikTok. That was weird. I mean, you've got to be very careful with these things. Let your manager, let your agent, let your legal team handle things. There's no reason for you to speak on this. Let's see here. Joshua says draft Tate and get over with Rashee Rice. You're referring to Cardinal Tate from Ohio State. That'd be an interesting decision. Because in 2023, you spent a second-round pick on Rice. Last year, you spent a first-round pick on Rice. This would be your third time in 4 years spending either a first or a second-round pick on a wide receiver. The Commanders just hired someone. Who did they hire? The Commanders hired David Blow as their new offensive coordinator. Okay. I believe that's the first significant hiring we've had this offseason. Okay. Congratulations. I think her wounds look self-inflicted, and notice she has no pics or videos of him doing those things like damage to that. Yes, I agree with you, Carrie. That's why I've been saying wait for all the facts to come out in this one. I'm not going to sit here and say the wounds look self-inflicted because I don't know that. I truly don't. Hopefully we find out soon. The offense looked better without Rice. I mean, Tyquan Thornton was your most effective receiver this year. That was before Rice really became a part of the team, rejoining them. Sounds like a great match for Cleveland. He can hang out with Deshaun Watson. Chargers pull off the upset. They haven't fell off yet. No, I guess they haven't. But at some point, you're going to face a good team, and that defense will capitalize. Yes, they have gotten through. Credit to them, but I think that's going to catch up to them this weekend. Do I think Pacheco comes back? Nick says. I say no. I don't think he will. As much as Bills fans have been brutal to Chiefs fans, I'm taking Buffalo for the Super Bowl. I don't disagree. I think Buffalo's got a really good chance at a Super Bowl. Yeah, they've got to win 3 road games, but this is their easiest path. If you don't get through with Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow out, when are you going to get through? Who wins in a fight, Rashee Rice or Ray Rice? Not in an elevator. Yeah. Corey, you're wrong for that. Wouldn't mind seeing Barfalo win. Oh, okay. Yeah. I haven't heard that one before. Niners run defense is horrible. Barkley runs wild. Understandable. If Allen doesn't win it this year, he never will. I'm convinced of that. I don't want to say he'll never win, but the idea that Allen does not have help, that's a bunch of BS. I mean, you've got the league leading rusher next to you. And I think the Bills defense never really has gotten the credit that I feel like they're worthy of getting. Like, you just gotta, okay, the 13-second game, I don't know what else Josh Allen could have done. I really do not know. Okay. That guy threw 2 touchdown passes at Arrowhead in the 2-minute warning. And I know one of them, like the 2-minute warning just started right when he threw the first of those 2 touchdowns inside 2 minutes, but still did it. Like, you've got, I don't know what else he could have done in that game. But in the game where Tyler Bass missed, well, 2 plays before that, he missed a wide open, Khalil Shakir. Listen, Buffalo was lucky to even have a chance to tie with Bass, because if it wasn't for McCall, he probably he would have scored and the Chiefs would have been up by 2 scores. The Chiefs got way too cute in the red zone with McCall Hardman that game. I don't know why. But yeah, I mean, and then in the last year's AFC title game, with the game on the line, Josh Allen could not pass midfield. The league MVP could not get past midfield with the game on the season on the line. A trip to the Super Bowl on the line. I'm going to be honest with you. The issue with domestic violence allegations, like any sports mental health, is real now. Oh, I agree. And I think, in recent years, there has been more attention to domestic violence as well as mental health. So I think that is something to, again, to be clear, like, that's not to be taken lightly. We've got to let the facts come out for this. So if he did do it, yeah, I think you've got to seriously cut ties with him. Seeing this Rice problem, should we go wide receiver in the draft and get a running back in free agency? It's a good question. I don't really know right now. I will say this Rashee Rice thing does put you in a really interesting spot with your offseason needs. I mean, does it not become more pertinent to bring back Tyquan Thornton and Hollywood Brown? And you're hoping Travis Kelce can come back? Travis Kelce's been your leading pass catcher 2 years in a row. And I think he was better this year than last year by miles. You're on track until you fix that San Francisco versus Philly game. Those annoying Eagles are sitting silently while everyone is preoccupied with the Bears, Rams, Patriots, and Broncos. They can play poorly and beat anyone. It's going to suck, but watch out. Yeah, but my thing with Philly is Philly's just been weird this year. Like, listen, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I get it. Philly should have lost that game to Buffalo. 1,000% should have lost that game. And I don't want to hear any excuses about the weather or any of that stuff. Both teams deal with the elements of the outdoors. But man, it's like Philly just has not been consistent this year. Last year, they were a dominant football team. They destroyed the Commanders in the NFC title game, and they destroyed the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But that was last year. This is a much different Eagles team. They just don't look hungry this year like they were last year. All the speculation we are doing, and watch it all be for Doug Peterson. I would not mind Doug Peterson. He's not as sexy of a name as some of the other guys out there, but I would not be upset if Doug Peterson came back. There has to be something in Nagy because he is getting a lot of interviews. Listen, a lot of guys get a lot of interviews. I mean, there are a lot of bad head coaches who get hired. Keep that in mind, Brad. I don't know what's going to end up happening with Nagy. He got head coaching offers last year, or head coaching interviews last year, excuse me. So, listen, Spags, we would all agree Spags is the better coordinator, right? Between him and Spags and Nagy, 100%. But Nagy's getting more interest than Spags is. And who knows, maybe teams have made it, maybe Spags has made it clear he's not too interested in becoming a head coach again. I don't know. But we'll see. Thank you for saying you don't think Spags will leave. I am more worried about him than anyone else. Yeah. And listen, I don't want Spags to leave. He's only got one team that's interested in him so far. And again, because of the Harbaugh thing, and I think he's going to take his time, I think this is going to be a very slow head coaching cycle to where I think teams and candidates are all going to take their time with their options for both the candidates and what teams they could potentially go to, and the teams that, you know, if they don't get Harbaugh, they have, you know, other backups in mind. But I will say this, Spags does deserve a second chance to be a head coach. And I'm not counting the time as an interim head coach for the Giants before joining the Chiefs. But I said this about Eric Bieniemy a few years ago. Like, I don't want Eric Bieniemy off the team. But man, he's been so great at being an offensive coordinator. He deserved a head coaching opportunity. But because he was surrounded by Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, nobody wanted to give him a head coaching job. They were afraid he'd just be another Josh McDaniels. So I don't know, man. It's odd how that all works out sometimes. Oh, my bad. I don't know what happened there. There we go. I feel like Cincinnati is a good fit for Harbaugh too. I think everyone in Cincinnati would agree with you. The problem is Cincinnati is way too in love with what they have. I mean, I don't understand the fascination with Zach Taylor. Like, come on, man. It should have been obvious when Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and who's the edge rusher? Trey Hendrickson, when they all were league leaders in their positions. Jamar Chase was a Triple Crown winner. And you still missed the playoffs. Listen, there's a lot more than just Zach Taylor in Cincy. Like, the defensive personnel has been god awful. I mean, they looked good in a few games this year, but when they played just an above average team, offensive team, there was no hope for them. Like, at all. No hope for them. Zach Robinson, former Falcons OC from the McVay tree, and not a hot name. I'm intrigued for him to bring that Falcons run game to Kansas City. That'd be interesting. Do you think once we move to Kansas, we can break our own noise record for being in a dome stadium? I think you'll certainly see the decibel meter go up, but Guinness Book of World Record, will they recognize the stadium the record in a dome stadium? Probably not. Tua requested a trade. Good luck. Like, who's going to, what is the team going to give up for Tua taking on that contract? I mean, that is a $230 million quarterback you are going to try to trade. Rooting interests are anybody but Denver. Oh, dude, those Denver fans have been talking a lot this year. Like, if they don't win a game, Chiefs fans are going to be saying a lot. Muddy says, I'm glad Kansas City is not in the playoffs. Speaking from a Bills fan, yeah, understandable. I mean, I think a lot of people are happy the Chiefs are not in the playoffs this year. Completely understandable. That's why, listen, if you're Buffalo, no excuses this year. Yeah, you might have to win 3 road games. And I say might because there is a teeny tiny chance they could host an AFC championship game, but that's slim to none. But dude, like, no Burrow, no Mahomes, no Chiefs, no Lamar. You better win this year. Because if you do not win an AFC championship this year, there are going to be a lot of critics coming out of the woodworks. 3 road games. Easier said than done, even with what people are saying is the easiest path. I think the Bills can do it. I really do. How much of Rice's production is him versus the scheme? Well, he certainly struggled against man coverage this year. Like, really, really bad against man coverage. Here's the other part of it, too, because you mentioned scheme. Do you remember Rice's last game was against the Chargers? What do you remember about Rice in that game? He got destroyed. Not once, but twice by Derwin James, who is maybe the hardest hitting safety in the NFL. Derwin James is not someone who gets a lot of stats in general throughout his career. He's better known for his coverage and his physicality. Dude, the Chiefs telegraphed not 1, but 2 plays to Rice to where Derwin James saw it coming from a mile away, and he lit up Rice twice. And by the way, who was the rookie from the Bills? Maxwell Hairston. He had a great game against the Chiefs. Why did he have a great game? And he admitted this after the game, which I think was a rookie mistake on his end. But he said we knew what they were going to do because they've been doing it over and over again, referring to Xavier Worthy on those bubble screens. Kansas City has telegraphed a lot of their plays. They keep running the same plays over and over again to the point where, you know, God forbid you use your brain and you think to yourself, oh, we've ran this play a couple of times. Maybe the opposing team does this thing called watch film. It's like you assume they don't watch film. You assume they just show up to practice, toss the ball around, and try to prepare for certain plays. No, man, they studied the hell out of your offense. The lethargic and repetitive offense. Listen, I know the rumor is out there that if Nagy doesn't get a head coaching job, then he'll go elsewhere to become a play caller as an offensive coordinator. Dude, the Chiefs, if they really thought Matt Nagy was that guy, they should be begging and pleading for him to come back. They're not. They're ready to move on from him. Rice's contract with rookie deal cap $2.7 million in dead cap. 431. Yeah, if you cut Rice, it's not much of an issue because he's on a rookie deal. That's why they got rid of Kareem Hunt when that incident occurred. NFLPA and NFL need to put some better off the field suspension in the new CBA in 2030. I agree. I said this last night. I think the NFL is way too soft on punishments. And I think if you're the NFLPA, and I understand the NFLPA, they are supposed to fight for the players. But for the sake of humanity and ethics here, if someone is found guilty of domestic violence, a DUI, criminal activity that they should not do, dude, put the hammer down on these guys. Because I swear to you, man, and there's no way for me to prove this, but it's a hill I'm willing to die on. If the NFL can come down harder with big consequences for getting in trouble off the field, dude, I guarantee you players are going to keep their nose clean. They're going to be like, oh, that guy, my former college roommate, my former high school teammate, a guy who I used to play with in the NFL, that guy just got suspended half a season and is fined $1 million. Yeah, I better not let that happen to me. But the fines are, $50,000, $100,000, a few games. Like, come on, man. The NFL should be better than this. I bet D-Hop is like, damn, never getting a ring. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Look, he deserves it. He came very close last year. That was his best chance. I don't think he ever played in an AFC title game before. Do I have his yak averages? I do not. Let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah, I'm surprised websites like ESPN do not have that. Like Fox Sports has a section for the yak. In 2023, I don't have his average, but in 2023, Rice was third in yards after the catch. That was his rookie year. He was just ahead of Tyreek Hill and about 28 yards behind CeeDee Lamb, who was the league leader that year. Let me see something with Rashee Rice, if I can. Bear with me. Something I do want to look up because it is a valid question here. How many yards after the catch did Rice have in 2024? Okay, it only shows the top 25. Yeah, he's obviously not going to be there. Because I would be willing to say he was at least top 50, but I don't know. Doesn't let you go. I know there are websites that have it, but I can't really pull that up right now because I'm doing this. Yeah, how do I know how many viewers I have on TikTok? Oh, I see it on the top right-hand corner. A lot of you guys are liking this. Some people are coming in and out. Okay. I appreciate you all. The wide receiver coaching was a problem last year, and they still kept Connor Embry. Yeah. I did a YouTube video that's out right now on Connor Embry. Look, if you're Andy Reid, you owe it to yourself because Andy Reid's only got a couple of years left of coaching, probably. You owe it to yourself to have the best coaching staff possible. You also owe it to yourself when you have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback to not waste the most talented quarterback of all time with a terrible wide receivers coach. Coaching matters, man. Coaching really matters. You know the wide receiver coaching is bad when D-Hop and Kelsey are the coaches. Yeah, that certainly matters. Dable, Kingsbury, McDaniel, or Bieniemy for OC. Yeah, that's a good list there. Hopefully it's one of those guys. Corey says, do you feel Noah Williams has done enough for the Chiefs to move on from McDuffie? And if so, what do you think we do with Trent? I think Noah Williams had a really good rookie campaign. I wish he got more playing time, but that's a topic for a whole nother time. As far as, do I think he's done enough for the Chiefs to move on from McDuffie? I don't know about that. I do think McDuffie is going to be on the move. He's going to demand way too much money, and the Chiefs cannot afford it. We'll wait to see what the salary cap's going to be. But I do think Trent McDuffie is going to be on the move. In terms of what team specifically, Chicago and Tennessee would be interesting options. Reuniting him with L'Jarius Sneed. I know the Titans are not big fans of Sneed, especially with his unavailability. Chicago. I mean, Chicago is Ryan Poles is still running things in Chicago, right? I just want to make sure of that before I say anything else. Yeah, Ryan Poles is the GM there. Ryan Poles was not here when Trent McDuffie got drafted, but I think during the 2021 season, he certainly might have been part of the crew that spent time scouting Trent McDuffie. So I'm sure that would be a good spot for him to go to. Do I think it's time to switch to a 3-4 defense? I like the 3-4 better than the 4-3. I think you have better options in the 3-4 than the 4-3, but I don't think it's necessarily time for that. I think the Chiefs have been just fine in the 4-3. They just need a better defensive tackle next to Chris Jones. That way the rest of the defensive line can do their thing. Because they took a really big step back, the defensive line that is, these last 2 years. I know people give Allen crap for not getting past the Chiefs. Sometimes in sports, teams just run into great teams. Look at the Jazz, Knicks, and Suns during the MJ era. That's a great point. I don't know how many of you guys are UFC fans. There are a lot of UFC fighters who are great, but they just can't get past the number one ranked fighter. They don't end up getting a title shot because there are, 2 or 3 guys who are ahead of them. Sometimes you have that. Tyson's asking, what draft comp do I expect for Trent McDuffie? I've seen some people say a 1 and a 3. I think that's maybe wishful thinking. I think you can get a 1 and a 4. I think you can get a 1 and a 4. I think you could also get a 2 and a 3. I'd rather have a 1 and a 4. A 2 and a 3, I mean, you could get some decent players, and it would also depend. Like, the Chiefs are going to be picking early in a lot of the rounds because of their 6-11 record. If you trade with another bad team that's willing to pay McDuffie, yeah, with a second and a third, you'll be picking pretty early in the rounds, in the second and third rounds of day 2 of the draft. That's something to consider. Jaden's asking, what do I expect on Pacheco? Will they re-sign him? Will he come back? No. Which is disappointing because I thought his first 2 years he was great on a pass heavy team too. But I don't think Pacheco's coming back. The last 2 years have just been really bad for him. The injury, the lack of vision, it just hasn't been good. Now, could a better offensive coordinator change that? Perhaps, but I don't know. I'm not sure what direction the Chiefs are going to go in with running back. Because I've said it before. I think if you have a better offensive coordinator, I think Mahomes will be better on the deep passes. I think the running backs will certainly be better. I'd love to see Bieniemy coach Kareem Hunt one more time. I'd love to see that, but that's probably unlikely. Need to get Tyreek Hill back after the Rashee Rice allegations. Alfonso, you're trolling. You've got to be trolling. Do you not know how many allegations Tyreek Hill has had against him during his time in Miami? Let's get rid of one guy who's got serious allegations for another guy that gets serious allegations. I don't know, man. I don't think so. How about Ruben Bain Jr. and trading for David Montgomery? The Chiefs, I don't know if the Chiefs would trade for a running back. Ruben Bain Jr., I know some people are down on him, but I don't know what direction the Chiefs are going to go in with the 9th pick of the draft. I don't want them to trade out of it. I want them to keep that 9th pick. Because every year we keep hearing, oh, the Chiefs, they pick late in the draft. Well, great problems to have. First world problems. You're in the Super Bowl every year, except this year. So of all the years to not be 32nd, you're now 9th. So keep that top 10 pick. And if you can get something very significant for Trent McDuffie, yeah, you've got yourself a chance to really run the table in the draft if you can get another early first round pick. I would love to see the Chiefs have 2 top 10 picks. Facts are we have as many false claims as legit ones on domestic violence. I'll be honest, I don't know that for a fact. I do know there are instances where people have made false allegations on that. Yes, that's happened. We don't need a wide receiver in his 30s and make huge money. Kyle says, what do I want with the 9th overall pick? If I had to pick right now, I'd like I almost said Jordan Love, Jeremiah Love, but I think the Saints would take him, and the Saints are 1 spot ahead of the Chiefs. So I don't know. Either Love or Bain, one of those two. Do I think Spags gets an interview with the Ravens? I'm not sure. I saw Kay Adams suggest that possibility, but I'm not so sure. Any coaches interviews today for the Chiefs? Not that we know of. Though Nate Taylor did say that it's unlikely they hire from within. So they are going to have to look elsewhere. I say Doug Peterson will be it because I think Andy is going to look at a guy who could step in as a successor. I feel it's not a bad choice because he was successful as the Eagles coach. Yeah, I think he had a little bit of success with the Jags, but he's been fired twice. That's the concern if he's a replacement for Andy. I'd love to get EB back, but he ain't leaving Chicago now. For an offensive coordinator job, would he not? I think he would. Love McVay. I like Cliff has OC for Mahomes, but not sure he would be a good head coach successor to Reed. Yeah, listen, Cliff was not good at Texas Tech. The fact that he got a head coaching job with the Cardinals, it was kind of wild. So I don't know. Cincinnati's problem seems to be Duke Tobin more than Zach Taylor. He's building the teams. Sure, but Zach Taylor has a lot of bad decision-making stuff as well. The Raiders would get to then there you go. They're probably going to get Fernando Mendoza, but I don't know. Don't ever dismiss the Raiders doing that kind of stuff. I like Spags a lot, but I want to keep him. Yeah, I'm with you. Who do I think might re-sign with the Chiefs? Number one priority should be Tyquan Thornton. I think he will re-sign. I think Travis Kelce will come back. Kareem Hunt, I think, will re-sign as well. Maybe Hollywood Brown. Maybe. Tua would have to be in a warm weather spot or some team. I could see Minnesota taking a flyer on him. Other than that, I can't see anyone else. Yeah, you can see that. Miami will dump Tua on a crappy team with cap room. Yeah, probably. That's the only way you can really go. You mentioned Bill Self. I've seen KU basketball players get benched a game for spitting on the sidewalk on Mass Street in front of the wrong person. Just a higher level of ethics. Don't tarnish your brand. Agree, NFL should be more strict. I'll take your word on the Mass Street part. Dude, if that's really true, props to Bill Self. Like, here's a problem with the Chiefs, and I don't expect. Listen, these are grown ass men. They're not college football kids. But, and again, I get it. The Chiefs can't be helicopter parents for 53 players, but at some point, it's like you clearly listen. When you're 18, you might not be wise. You're far from the smartest person in the world, but you're smart enough to know right from wrong. But you still make dumbass decisions anyway. And the Chiefs have had a lot of that on the team in recent years. I think the Chiefs, and listen, I know on the Chiefs social media team, whenever the Chiefs win a game, they show Andy Reid in the locker room celebrating with the team. And I remember for one of them, the bye week was coming up, and he was addressing the team saying, hey, we got a bye week, don't get into trouble, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, so he's been saying it. But is anyone paying attention in that moment? Are they all paying attention? I'm sure the Chiefs tell their guys, hey, don't get into trouble, but I think there's got to be a serious, stern conversation had with these guys. Because I remember when Kareem Hunt got in trouble and got kicked off the team, we knew that an incident occurred, but nobody knew exactly what. The rumor was Eric Bieniemy was really pissed off when Kareem Hunt was kicked off the team. Not because of the Chiefs, but because of Kareem. It's like, man, if you got a guy that's going to let you know he doesn't mess around, no nonsense guy, because they claim the reason they let Kareem Hunt go was because he lied, not because he got in trouble. So I just think, teams need to be more strict on their players, and the league needs to be more strict. Instead of getting Hollywood and Juju back, imagine if we got Mike Evans or Romeo Dobbs. Those two might demand, Evans might demand a lot of money. I know did his streak of 1,000 yards get snapped this year? I think it did. Pending the Rashee Rice event, there are no legal charges or police reports. If the NFL finds that there is substantial evidence, the Chiefs can cut Rice like Hunt on the player conduct policy violation and be responsible for his cap hit. If he is cut prior to the NFL season beginning in March or April, after that, it will be added to their cap next season. Yeah, that's something to consider here. That's why the Chiefs are waiting on this. She didn't file any charges, so they won't suspend him. Brianna, have I said your name right? Just because he didn't file anything doesn't mean that he won't get suspended. Listen, Kareem Hunt was never arrested or charged with anything. He still got suspended because there was video proof of it. Now, again, if you read the comments of that Instagram post, Rashee Rice's grandmother is claiming there's evidence, and Dakota Nicole's friends are also claiming there's video evidence. Okay, let's see the evidence. Because if you're claiming it's out there, let's see it so we can get this over with. Either Rice can clear his name or we can suspend and cut him. Like, do what needs to be done. I don't know. Bengals, San Francisco, and Tennessee as trade partners. Yeah, the Bengals could use them for sure. What if we trade McDuffie to get back into the first round? Oh, like during the draft? That'd be a really interesting decision. Yeah. That's certainly an option as well. Mike says, could the Chiefs get a first from the Cowboys? They sure need a corner. Possibly. They probably would be more focused on a pass rusher because they let I can't remember, is that Micah Parsons go to the Packers? Trade McDuffie. What other DBs do the Chiefs have right now? None. Brian, I wouldn't say Cook sucks. He doesn't do a lot of things that come up on the stat sheet, but the reason you have to trade McDuffie is because he's going to want a big deal and you can't afford it. You're not trading McDuffie because you don't think he's good. Okay. Do you think the Chiefs traded Joe Thuney because they felt like they had the perfect replacement at left guard? No, that was done for financial reasons. Same with Tyreek Hill a few years ago. And L'Jarius Sneed. The Chiefs need to get a running back that can produce on the RPO. I agree with you, Dame. Donnie says trade Chris Jones. Yeah, some people have been suggesting that, but I don't know what team will do that. Corey says, are you happy with who the Chiefs have on the offensive line if they're all healthy, or do you still think it needs to be addressed? If they're all healthy, which is a big if, yes, I am happy with it. I think the only wide open spot right now is right tackle. Do you put Jalen Moore there? Is Esapole someone who you put there? Are those two guys going to compete for that position in training camp? Obviously, you like Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. Josh Simmons, when he's on the field, dude, that guy looks great. He absolutely looks great. Left guard, Kingsley Suamante, had some good moments, and he also had some bad moments. I like the offensive line. I thought Patrick Mahomes had way more time in the pocket this year than he did last year, and I don't think it's even close. You can't compare the two seasons when it comes to pass blocking. But they were inconsistent at times. Jawan Taylor's heavily inconsistent. Mike Caliendo, I don't think was a good guard. I thought Hunter Norzad was a far better guard than Caliendo. Listen, Caliendo's a good guy. Nothing against him. Just got to make better decisions. So we'll see what they do with right tackle. I think Pole and Moore, whoever ends up being the backup, they're going to be a good player for depth purposes if you need one of them to step in. And I think Norzad is a great option for your interior offensive line if someone gets injured there. So those are 7 guys I like for your offensive line. The 4 guys you have from left tackle to right guard, and then Hunter Norzad as your top backup for your interior offensive line, and also between Jalen Moore and S.A. Pole, whoever would not be the starter. Just want them to utilize the draft picks. 2025 class didn't see much playing time. Yeah, outside of Ashton Gelati, didn't see much playing time. Josh Simmons saw a lot of playing time when he was on the field. Omar Norman-Lott as well. Omar Norman-Lott looked good before his injury. I want to see more of him, and I hope he stays healthy. And I think that'll help the defensive line in general, too. Dumbest idea is giving up on McDuffie. He is the only experienced player in the backfield. Sign free agents might as well have kept McDuffie. Again, Brian, I don't think they're trading him because they hate him. They might trade him because he's going to ask for a lot of money. And Kansas City does need draft picks. Yeah, Josh was saying that right now, I think in response to you. Yeah, he has a 5th-year option, but I don't think he wants to play under that. He wants to secure the bag now. Because if he gets hurt this season in 2026, then he will lose out on a chance for a big contract. So he's going to want that deal now. I could see him holding out in training camp. Whoever started the idiotic rumor that McDuffie would want $30 million, the market value for a DB is high 17 million. I have it in front of me here, so let me pull it up here. The top paid cornerbacks. Sauce Gardner got 30.1 million 4 years. Derek Stingley Jr. got 30 million in 4 years. J.C. Horn, 25 million in 4 years. Jalen Ramsey, 24.1 million in 3 years. Pat Surtain, the second, 24 million in 4 years. So yeah, he's going to want anywhere from 25 to 30 million. Jawan Taylor was not inconsistent. He was very consistent on getting beaten, drawing flags. Okay, fair enough. I mean, he had good moments as a pass blocker. I'll push back on that. But the penalties overshadow the good that he did, unfortunately. Should we suspend Rice? Xavier Worthy 43 is asking. Not yet, not until we have all the facts. An Instagram post is not evidence. I agree, an Instagram post is not evidence, but if there's actual video of him doing anything, yeah, I mean, that is still evidence nonetheless. That what she posted is not evidence. Those could have been self-inflicted. I don't know. Chiefs need to cut Jawan Taylor, Andrew Tranquil, trade Trent McDuffie. They also need to cut Mike Dana. That will free up $9 million on your cap. Do I think Patrick Mahomes is going to come back week 1 in September? Listen, I know Patrick Mahomes is built different. I agree he is built different. But you're talking about a torn ACL you're coming back from. Yes, there have been a couple of instances where players have come back in 6 or 7 months. We can't bank on that to be the case. Again, I know Mahomes is tough and he's battled through serious pain. I mean, we saw what he did in the 2022 playoffs. Orlando Brown allowed his ankle to get shattered and he still fought through that and re-aggravated the injury in the Super Bowl, still battled through it. But if I had to bet on it, I'm not betting on him to be available for week 1. And here's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is the Chiefs and Mahomes himself is going to rush through the injury and the recovery process just to make him available for week 1. That's my biggest fear. Look, it just takes one defender to target that knee. Just one. So, listen, if you've got to go 0-2, then you go 0-2. I don't want to see that happen, but sometimes you got to have that short-term step back so you can thrive long-term. So I hope they don't rush into anything with that there. Listen, I'm not a doctor. I'm not evaluating him. I'm not responsible for his rehab. So we don't know. I mean, the Chiefs are always going to tell us, here's going to be the most annoying part of this offseason. The media is going to constantly ask Andy Reid, how's Mahomes? How's his rehab? How's his knee? They're going to say good. They're not going to tell you otherwise. They convinced you that Hollywood Brown was ready to come back in a couple of days. And the same week, they found out he needed to have a second surgery on his shoulder. So I don't know, man. I'm not going to trust anything they say. They're going to tell you he's doing fine. All right, I'm going to read a couple more and get out of here. Week 3 or 4, yeah, I think that's more realistic. Far more realistic. What do you think is more pressing, running back or pass rusher? Pass rusher. Like if you have a better pass rush, the sack total is going to go back up to what it was in 2023. You would argue Mahomes was hurt before he got hurt? Maybe. I mean, listen, guys have played with a torn ACL before. Like, I remember when I tore my ACL, granted, I'm not an NFL player, I was still able to walk. I was still able to work out. I had to do far more lighter exercises just to not destroy my knee, but you can still do some things with a slightly torn ACL. So, knowing Mahomes, he will take a pay cut so the Chiefs can retool. Yeah, possibly. I mean, if he's going to restructure, there's a difference between a pay cut and a restructure. He's been restructuring every year. With 9, would you be opposed to drafting the best offensive lineman available, no matter the position, instead of running back or in pass rusher? The only good option in the top 10 would be Spencer Fano. Let me look at the board. Yeah, Fano from Utah. If he goes before 9, I mean, you're best option would be Caleb Lomo, but you can maybe get him if you trade down 5 or 6 spots, which again could be a little risky. But and what is Lomo? Is he a? He's more of a left tackle than a right tackle. Okay. Yeah, I don't know who a good right tackle would be in the first round. So I would imagine they draft a right tackle at some point in this draft. Do you see the Chiefs going after Breece Hall? I think they go after him, but I don't think they can get him. He's going to want way too much money. The reason the Chiefs did not give up a 3rd round pick for him is because they knew they would not re-sign him. He's going to want big money elsewhere. They're not giving up a 3rd for a rental. They just weren't. They weren't going to do that. Mark says, how much are we willing to pay Breece at 24? Oh, man, everyone wants Breece Hall. Yeah, it's just that the Chiefs don't have a lot of money right now with the cap. And listen, cutting Jawan Taylor, cutting Mike Dana, maybe Drew Tranquil, and maybe trading Trent McDuffie, though that will help you by a lot. Restructuring Mahomes and Jones contracts will help also, but how much longer are those guys going to be willing to restructure? That's another thing. Kelsey, listen, what kind of money is Kelsey going to want if he comes back? He's about to marry someone that's got a net worth of $2 billion. But I don't think he's still going to be willing to play for a charitable cause. He's going to want money still. So, I don't know, man. It's going to be an interesting offseason to see what the Chiefs do there. But, yeah, a couple of you guys asking about Breece Hall. Unfortunately, I don't see that as a realistic possibility. I just don't. Am I going to do more Red Friday live chats in the offseason? Yes. Now, at some point, we'll kind of stop. I think after the Super Bowl, we're going to take a break from the Red Friday Q&A live chat. We'll bring it back for a couple of weeks in free agency, and then for a week or two after the draft. And then we'll give it a break until training camp. So, yeah, we'll have a couple Red Friday Q&A live chats in the offseason, certainly. Do I think the Chiefs are coming back next year, meaning back to the playoffs? Yes. Would I bet on them to win the division next year, right this moment? No. So I would say the Chiefs make it back as a wild card team. You should broadcast from the draft? No way. Broadcasting from the draft would not benefit me, and it would not be easy with the Wi-Fi, and the place would be way too loud. They would be playing music, and we can't have copyright music play over the stream. So a lot of you guys are saying I should do a show from the draft or a show during the draft. Okay, so let me ask you guys this, since we're caught up on the questions. So I asked you guys earlier if you guys would be interested in a live podcast with a live audience this offseason. A lot of you guys said yes. By the way, you guys keep asking for updates on that. You guys wanted a bit of an update? We're actually talking to a second group. We might do 2 shows this offseason in front of a live audience. So there's that there. Now, here's my question to you guys. Damn, you lost some weight, bro. You said I used to be fat before, Rob? No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate it. Thank you. I think Kelsey plays 1 more yard. So here's my second question. If I did a live stream during the draft, like as soon as the Raiders are on the clock, would you guys watch that? Would you guys watch a live stream during the draft? That's what I want to know from you guys. Oh, yeah, the Chiefs will still have a lot of primetime games. I mean, the Chiefs, even coming off a bad season, they still generate a lot of ratings. You guys would you guys would watch a live stream during the draft. Okay. Some of you guys won't. That's okay. That's why I'm asking. I want to get a good grasp from you guys. Okay, here's my second question. And I don't think I would do this, but I still would like to know your guys' thoughts. Because I know some people do this. Oh, a lot of you guys want a live stream during the draft. Okay. All right. Right on. Okay. Here's my other question. Would you guys watch me do a live stream reacting to the game, reacting to games, I should say. I see a lot of people who do live streams during the game, like a watch along, essentially. Now, that'd be a little hard because if the Chiefs score a touchdown, you guys would all be commenting touchdown, but I'll be like, the live stream will be 30 seconds or so behind. So doing a live stream, a watch along during a game would be difficult. Plus, I'd rather be in my man cave if I'm being completely honest. Steelers or Texans? I'm going Texans. Okay, I'm getting mixed reactions for the during the game from Facebook and YouTube commenters. Okay. No right or wrong answer. I mean, I'm just curious what you guys would be interested in. So do a live show with Christian Okoye. He doesn't do a lot of interviews. He's been on this podcast before. And I have tried reaching out to him to bring him back, but no success there. That delay would not be good for. Yeah, that's the thing. It's and I don't know how other live streamers handle that kind of thing. Maybe I should watch one of them, like for a college football game. So I don't know. Like I could actually figure out a setup here. So it would not be that difficult. I would just use YouTube TV, but if you do a live show, who would you do it with? Great question. We're those are things we're working on right now. Because if it was just me, you should get Trent Green on the show. I have met Trent Green and have spoke to him about it. Trent does have my contact info. Would love to have Trent Green. He said it would be more ideal for him to do it after the season, which is completely understandable. So he's got my contact info. So would certainly love to have him on the podcast. 100%. I did a short interview with him at a golf course. He was very generous with his time. So it's we'll see. Would I do a show or a collab with Mike Bassano or Bassano? I've probably fucked that name up. I apologize. I don't know who that is. Sorry. Don't know who that is. People have reached out to me for collabs. It's got to make sense. It's definitely got to make sense, and it's got to benefit both sides. So yeah. There have been people who wanted to collab with me, but they were like demanding certain things to be done. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about that. Oh, I've spoken to Scooter before. Nice dude. He's a nice dude. Who do I like, the Bears or Green Bay? The Bears. I like the Bears better. Dwayne Bowe would be cool. Yeah, I've spoken to him before. So, oh, he's another influencer. Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's got to make sense. If there's a guy that you've tried to, that you've tried to have on the show, but they don't come on, we can always go to his Instagram account. No, don't do that. That will make them not want to do it. As much as I appreciate the idea, don't do that. Because listen, I don't know how I would react if a bunch of people said, "Hey, go on this person's podcast." I mean, I wouldn't be upset about it, but I don't think people like to be told what to do. So please do not do that. Do not do that, please. That would kind of be a bad look for me. Do a show with Cole. I actually tried. I was actually wanting to do like a preview season, a Chiefs preview before the season, And he was like, yeah, man, I'm down. And then I was trying to follow up with him a couple times. I didn't hear back. So he actually got back to me, but it was like halfway through the season. I'm like, well, can't really do a preview season at the midway point. Get Elvis Gerbeck, Lynn Elliott, and Tamara Vanover. I actually really want to get Lynn Elliott on the show. Like, I know I see you saying LOL, Anthony. I actually would love to have Lynn Elliott. Listen, somebody asked me once before, who are two guys you would love to get on the podcast? My answers were Brody Croyle and Lynn Elliott. We got Brody Croyle last year. Unfortunately, I just had this equipment set up, and it was not very good video quality. But it was a great conversation. Lynn Elliott, boy, I would love to have Lynn Elliott on. I do know of someone that does know Lynn. I don't like to ask people to give me someone else's contact or introduce me to someone. I try to reach out on my own. Lynn Elliott's done interviews. He hasn't done many, but he's done a couple of radio interviews. D4, yeah. Listen, I will never say no to any Chiefs player, any former Chiefs player. Priest, I've been in contact with Priest. He gave me his contact info. I don't just for the record, I don't reach out to anyone unless they give me their number. Otherwise, I'll try to reach out on Facebook or Instagram, social media. Or through their agent or manager. Sometimes these guys give me their contact info, but I don't hear back from them. They'll text me back, but whenever we try to pin down the time, they don't end up following through, which can be a little frustrating. Don't want to say names, but that does happen. D4, yeah, D4. Again, I will never say no to any former Chief, so that'd be a lot of fun. Could you interview Eric Bieniemy? I'm sure. Would certainly not say no to that. Not at all. Johnny Morton. Definitely got to talk about the worm if Johnny Morton comes on. All right. I appreciate all of the suggestions and all the feedback. Maybe we'll do a live show during the draft. I don't think we'll do live broadcast during games. That I'd rather be in the man cave, man. I like the way we do it, where we do a pre-show 4 hours before a game. And then halftime and post game. I like the way that works. Here's the weird part. When the Chiefs lose or when they're losing at halftime, there are far more people watching the halftime or the post game show than they would if the Chiefs won, which I don't get, man. Like, I want more of you guys when the Chiefs win, but I guess that's just the way it works. Brandon Flowers, yeah, I've never reached out to him. Some of these guys do have their contact info, like email or a representative that can help connect. Mitch Holtis, I tried many years ago. Just didn't work. Listen, some guys I have attempted to bring on. And again, nothing against Mitch. Like, he just either didn't want to do it or was too busy. Like, some guys you cannot make him do a podcast because they just don't. So. All right, I'm going to get out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your Red Friday. We'll be back on Monday. We will recap the NFL playoffs and also any other piece of news that'll come out with the Chiefs. And otherwise, you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Peace out. Thanks for joining me.